Greetings YouTube, welcome back to the MetaNerd channel. I am Marcus, bringing you another video for Cardfight Vanguard Overdress. Now, as we approach DBT04, we actually have another new deck structure, which is the new Blaze Maiden that will be released soon. So what better time to talk about this like the present? And surprisingly, Bushido does go wild with all this new mechanics and ideas, which brings some fresh new playstyle as well as some interesting playstyle to the game. Let's look into it. Now, of course, this unit is called Bavsargra, if I'm not pronouncing it wrong. Her mechanic is the new arms equip order, which is these two cards that you saw in the beginning, the sword and the shield. These two cards, which are called arms, provides offensive as well as defensive skill. Of course, this skills will change based on what newer arms card will bring to the table. She does features a front row retiring skill as well as a very powerful Vanguard attack. She does has some superior call skill, but then it's once per turn from the drop zone, and it's pretty restrictive, which we'll talk about later down the video. This deck, of course, the moment features a 3-attack Vanguard centric deck, with Bavsargra being the most powerful attack. This deck is more like a tactical playstyle because as we get more and more arms equip order, you will have to decide which situation is better off using certain equip order. But at the moment, since this is only your starter deck, it's pretty much straightforward. You want to get the sword as well as the shield on your Vanguard as soon as possible. But even so, you're gonna have to choose which one do you want to equip first, the shield or the sword. That's something to think about. At the moment, since we do not know any more arms order skill, this deck surprisingly is recommended for all players because it's pretty much straightforward. And of course, Blaze Maiden team. Yeah, it's been a while since we get a waifu boss monster for Dragon Empire, because most of Dragon Empire's monster are all dragon as well as boys with
guns. Lots of guns.
So of course, the starter, Seal Blaze Dragon Arhinsa. This is a generic starter. Nothing has been changed after 3 sets of the starter. And surprisingly, this is a dragon. You would think that them having a Blaze Maiden as a grade 3 boss unit, they would have a Blaze Maiden as a right line, but surprisingly no, it's a dragon. The grade 1 right line, Seal Blaze Dragon Namorkahr. Although when this unit is placed on Vanguard by riding from Seal Blaze Dragon Arhinsa, the grade 0, cost Soul Blast 1. Search your deck for up to 1 Seal Blaze Sword Pritiv or Seal Blaze Shield Swanyanba. Okay, I'm gonna call them the sword and the shield for now. I can't pronounce this name. Reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. Auto Rearguard Circle. When this unit attacks, this unit gets 2k power until the end of that battle. So this unit does helps you with equipping either the shield or the sword, because by simply riding, you're able to Soul Blast 1, which will make you at soul count 0 by the time you ride a grade 1. You're able to get either the sword or the shield. Now, depending on what your hand size is, you're able to choose which one to get. Of course, if your hand has a sword, you might be better to get a shield from the deck, and vice versa. This unit could be an early aggression unit since you're able to superior call him back from the drop zone if your opponent somehow tries to retire this on your rearguard. It's not really a big deal since you're able to superior call from the drop zone. This unit will probably be the main superior call target for Bavsargra. Next up, the grade 2 right line, Seal Blaze Dragon Halibadra. Although when this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle by riding from the grade 1, choose an arms card from your drop and put it into your hand. Auto Rearguard Circle. When this unit attacks, if your Vanguard is armed, this unit gets 5k power until the end of that battle. So this card does not really minus you when you ride from the right deck because you still need to discard one. You're able to just discard the order card that you get from the grade 1 skill and then just take it back. This is somehow like Zorga right line a little bit. She's basically the grade 2 version of the Zorga right line, a 15k attacker. Although you can't really call this card out from Bavsargra's skill because Bavsargra only calls grade 1, so it's a bit sad. Next, of course, is the main boss herself, Seal Blaze Maiden Bavsargra. Auto Vanguard Circle once per turn. When this unit is armed, Soul Charge 1. Choose a grade 1 or less cards from your drop and call it to Rearguard Circle. Active Vanguard Circle once per turn. If this unit is armed with 2 or more cards, cost Soul Blast 2. Retire all of your opponent's front row rearguards, and this unit gets critical +1 until the end of turn. Now, of course, this unit does needs to be in arm in order to get the soul resources as well as the grade 1 superior call from the drop zone skill. And of course, the arms being the sword and the shield. The second skill is really powerful. By Soul Blasting 2 and having 2 arms card on her, you're able to retire whatever is in the front row, and she herself gets a crit, and this bypasses resist unit. And since she does cost Soul Blast 2, you might want to run a little bit more soul charging card for this unit, because Soul Blast 2 is in particularly a heavy cost, because remember the grade 1 Soul Blast 1. So essentially when you reach grade 2, you're at 2 souls at the minimum if you don't run any other cards that basically soul chargers. And of course, if you do see my Dragon Empire video, you will notice there are a few soul charging cards that does not resolve around random soul charge from the top deck. Now let's take a look at what the sword and shield does. Of course, the sword here is right Deity arms. You need to pay 1 soul blast in order to arm this sword to Bavsargra. Auto Vanguard Circle. When the unit armed with this card attacks, that arm unit gets 10k power until the end of that battle. At the end of that battle, if your opponent's damage zone has 4 or less card cost, Counterblast 2, and put this card into your drop. Choose one of your opponent's Vanguard and deal 1 damage. First off, the Soul Blast. You would want to Soul Blast out the grade 1 in order to equip this card to Bavsargra. And by Soul Blasting out the grade 1, that grade 1 is in the drop zone already. And you could therefore use Bavsargra's skill to soul charge 1 as well as call back that grade 1, which is a lot of value. And since that grade 1 is a 10k attacker, even more value. And of course, this unit does powers up Bavsargra by giving Bavsargra herself 10k power, which is super nice. And this basically forces your opponent to guard all attacks if your opponent is at 4 damage. Because Bavsargra herself gets a critical, she will be attacking at 2 damage, which your opponent will die. So even if your opponent guard Bavsargra, you're able to still deal 1 damage, which will put your opponent at 5, which means that your opponent will have to guard your rear guards as well. But this card's value tends to fall out in the later game, because the sword will most likely just be a 10k power up to Bavsargra, since the second part of the skill requires your opponent to be at 4 or less damage in order to activate. Overall, by constantly hitting your opponent with a 23 or 33k Vanguard with a critical, with 2 critical, is not something to be scoffed at. For the shield is by far the best card out of the whole starter deck. You need to pay Counterblast 1 and to arm this card to Bavsargra left side. Auto Vanguard Circle once per turn. When the unit armed with this card is attacked, that armed unit gets 10k power until the end of that battle. This is basically a once per turn 10k shield that is free. I mean, of course, you do pay 1 Counterblast, but you will be getting 10k shield each and every turn for free. It's nice. This is the most incredible defensive card I have ever seen. This card is just insane. And unlike the sword, this shield will not go away even after you use the skill, because it does not say put this card to the drop zone. So this card will forever be there until the end of this game. And your opponent might need a plan to get around this unit, because 10k for free, it's really big. Or your opponent could just hit you with an insane amount of power where the 10k does not really matter, but even so, that's only 1 attack. You technically will only need 1 piece, because this card will never go away unless there is a skill that basically retires any order cards from any field. Then that's a problem. But then technically this card can only be run at 1 piece. Really nice, right? Since you're able to get it straight from the grade 1 skill and then just equip it, and this shield will be there forever. Next up, we have Seal Blaze Dragon Usarla. Auto, when this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle, cost Counterblast 1, choose an arms card from your drop and put it into your hand. So this basically helps you recycle one of your arms card, in particular the sword, because the sword goes to the drop zone after you use the sword skill. So it's pretty much very useful in certain scenarios, but not really at the moment. This is basically, for now, it's just a filler unit, and we might see an increase in value when we get to see more arms orders being introduced to Bavsargra. But even then, there might be more power creep version of this card, something to keep in mind. Next, we have Seal Blaze Dragon Shirunga. Auto Vanguard Circle. When this unit boosts cost, discard an arms card from your hand and draw a card. So this basically helps you exchange some excessive orders for more beneficial cards. For example, maybe a trigger or a cards or a combo key pieces that you might need. While you could Superior Call him back with Bavsargra's skill, I don't think he brings enough value to justify him being a stapler card for now. For now, since there's not much cards you could run, you could potentially run this card just to fetch more beneficial cards to your hand. And like the previous card, this card could see more importance once we get to see more arms order card. Perhaps we get an arms order card that basically activates skill when you discard from hand. Who knows? And that is all for this video. Do let me know down in the comment section on what do you think about Bavsargra's intro to Overdress. Is she good? Is she bad? Or she's basically a retrained version of Zorga? Do like and subscribe if you like this video, and don't forget to ring the bell notification icon so that you don't miss a video I upload. With that being said, I'll see you all on the field.